see the mission now. Find righteous from the 12 tribes, Bethlehem, that's my inner circle. We got bylaws like every 6 days you best be making curfew. See, we want goons that'll cut you if you touch us. Ain't no rabbis, ain't no masters. We got OGs and we got brothers, but our weapons, they ain't carnal. We are sheep amongst wolves. The warrior in my voice is a shadow of things to come. We go days without eating to beat and strengthen that inner man. We don't under, we don't over, man, we understand. Yeah, that's the spirit, man. When we speaking, you hear it, man. Light work, darkness can't comprehend, so they hate cause they fear it, man. See, they the children of the ones who killed the prophets, so we count it all for joy, cause it's a sign that we will profit. At the end, when the Son of Man comes again, I pray I'm found worthy and working and part of his battle plans. I got 12 tribes behind me. 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 12, 12, 12. I got 12 tribes behind me. 12, 12. I got 12 tribes behind me. I'm seeking able men, such that fear I hire, that walk in truth and hate a hater, cause they fear I hire. I told y'all niggas years ago, I'm waking goons up. Can these dry bones live? We waking tombs up. I'm with the Bible gang, we throwing sets up. Real Judah, straight shooters, you get wet up. Your choice, baptism or the Nina. With one voice we give that living Aquafina. I know Judas, that was brothers, they was hating on the low. Know my final destination, and can't everybody go. How you got the game on like it's something like a figure four. Cross me, hello, they know, like Shalom. He kicked the tribe out, call him the tribe of Dan, and got some replacement killers, Manasseh and Ephraim. Don't get that rude slap, I be speaking blue facts. I swing with the scripture, but I can hit you, leave you blue black. Playing both sides, bisexual Hebrews. You can't eat with devils and come and eat with me too. I got 12 tribes behind me. 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 12, 12. I got 12 tribes behind me. 12, 12. I got 12 tribes behind me.
Welcome to the Hebrew state of being. We are your humble servants and hosts for tonight. I am Kayel. Yes, on the road. We are not in the studios as normal, and this is not a new studio setting. But, you know, doing this work is paramount. And as Yasha sent them boys, them disciples all across to speak to everyone, so must we in this hour. So, you know, our work for our community, there's no place we should not go, you know. And that's traveling wise, and that's mentally wise, and that's spiritually wise, and that's in the heart wise. That we should lead with a circumcised heart. See, many times, you know, they got the terminology of brave heart, and they got the terminology of lead, you know, follow your heart, you know what I'm saying? But what kind of heart are you following? Is it a heart that loves iniquity, or is it a heart that loves righteousness? See, at the end of the day, we can put all kind of names and titles upon things. God, the Most High, Satan, Hashatan, racism. We could put all kind of names to describe the two entities of righteousness and iniquity. And iniquity is our own heart's desires with no parameters, no code, no law, no commandments. It's very similar to a thing called manifest destiny that was used by the Europeans to kill your ancestors here on this land. and then take your cousin ancestors and bring them from Africa, well, specifically the slave coast, specifically Negro land, specifically the kingdom of Judah, or Yudah, as they pronounced it, Yudah, Wyiddiah. In some spellings, others it's Wyudah. The French use the Wyudh to describe where they wanted to take, or where they traditionally took their slaves from to bring to their colony here in America. These are facts. So when we understand that these killings, these concepts of horror comes from this very same holiday that they will be celebrating this Thursday. See, righteousness and iniquity, the manifest destiny, do as thy wilt, not circumcising that heart with righteousness, saying, no, I am going to have a heart that desires righteousness, just like you train a child, just like you train a dog, just like you raise up a community. It must have parameters and laws. We all have to know what righteousness is as opposed to lawlessness. Manifest destiny and the papal bull appears to be law because it's written in European papers. It appears to be a law that was enacted, but actuality, it was paperwork to describe them doing as thy wilt. Uncircumcised heart. As they said, they are the land of the brave. The land of the brave, huh? Brave of what? Brave at massacre, brave at breaking your word in a treaty, brave to let iniquity cover you. Well, it did. It became America, United States, rather. It became the United States. And guess what? That manifest destiny attitude to do as thy wilt is the spirit of this nation. Our city, we say, get it how you live, right? It's still the same thing as manifest destiny. See, you're no different than your oppressor. Many people want to have a new world order. Many want to go back to the way that it was. Not really. Nobody wants to go back to the way it was. You know what they want? They want their own America. See, we want not to honor history because we don't search it out. We don't know what the past was. We don't know how we got into this position. We have allowed the people that have captured us and overtaken us to tell us the story. So you don't know what to go back to. If right now the United States fell and said that everybody's on their own, you would try to recreate another United States. A United States that was built on manifest destiny, that was built on do as thy will, built on an uncircumcised heart. Because that's all you know. Get it how I live. I'm going to grab these guns. I'm going to go get me some land, and I'm going to protect it. That's what you're going to do in this hour. Because that is the spirit of your oppressor. That is the spirit of Greece, Rome, Persia, Russia, huh? Babylon, United States, England, Britain, Japhet, the European Union. That is their mindset. this holiday that they are going to be celebrating on this Thursday is in your face, telling you how we have made you a slave, how we celebrated taking what was yours, and how we tell you that you sat down and ate dinner with us when we did it. His story. You brought the fictions to your own death. You know, let's get into it, man, because tonight's not gonna be a long night. Everybody in the building. You know, I see we got Jeremy in the building, Big Chief Black, Nicole in the building, Aaron in the building, my brother Scott in the building. You know what I'm saying? So we are going to get into a couple of videos tonight. Like I said, we are out of our studio. We are out here doing this kingdom work for our community. So we are did not have an opportunity to get into the scripts the way that we normally do, right? But tonight, you know, we're going to show you some things that are relevant to where we are right now, and we're going to back it up with scripture, because the theme that we want to understand is, who are we talking about? Who are we talking about when we say the holidays, when we say these pilgrims, Protestants, when we say these people that are present day in control of our governments? Who are these people through history? Because they have an MO. They have an MO, meaning a mode of operation. So tonight, you know, we're gonna let some of our historians first. Two brothers are gonna from Louisiana. That's gonna explain to you about Thanksgiving in Louisiana, and then we're gonna go to a more national approach to it. Then we're gonna go to the scripture and break it down and show that these people that came up with manifest destiny, these people that came up with the papal bull that allowed them to take us into captivity, that allowed them to do manifest destiny. See, everybody got to answer to somebody. At that time, the Christians answered to the Pope. And this time, the Pope is just giving it over to the UN, because that's the New World Order. See, the order that they put in was when they found a new world. Remember? You know, they found a new world, us, here, and killed us. So their first conquest in creating a new world in America, now they're creating their next new world order, which is another international connection, because the Pope was international. The Pope ran all the Eastern Hemisphere, except for Africa, just the top part, you know, Alexandria, Egypt. He did rule that part, right? Alexandria, Egypt, same place. So they were ruling the top of Africa along with Spain and France and all of those good things, right? Iberian Peninsula, after they made the papal bull that kicked us out as the Hebrews that were in Spain. See, Yahya, Yahya, Y-A-H, Y-A-Y-A-H, Yahya, Del, D-E-L, Negro, N-E-G-R-O. Search and look the brother up, and you'll see that he owned a large part in Spain, and that was us, the Negroes, Hebrews. He was a descendant of David, right? So we're not talking just out of the side of our neck. We're talking lineage, we're talking blood, and we're talking historical, right? So this historically horrific massacre that they are calling Thanksgiving, these same people we find all the way back in the days of Obadiah and beforehand, because they've been here since the beginning. They're called Esau. Esau the same people. So we're going to show that through the scripture, show that through these videos, that Esau is still whom in which we're working with, along with Japhet in this hour. So I see you in the building, August, my brother, man. So happy that you've been tuning in, my brother. Truly, so I'm humbled by it, my brother. Appreciate you. So let's get it, right? So we're gonna, and I played this the other night. for I played this no, I did not play. See, I'm fibbing on myself because I didn't change the order that I'm gonna go in. So the elder does it that way, but I want to do here first, right? Where where is I just had this thing. Oh, that's why we'll get together. So this is our efforts, you know, community-wise. This was before all the COVID and everything. This was our community effort to change and bring acknowledgement to this killing of us on this day and for us to not celebrate it. And of course, we did it with our indigenous community, right? So that we are changing. We went about changing what we did on that day. We're not going to feast like them, right? So, but my brother Keelan actually explains it because he's from the Etopica Yitschaq tribe, right? So this is the flag football game played uptown and downtown.
Day is just a day of activity, brotherhood,
brotherhood,
safety, fun.
Hey man, this game brings a lot of people together from all walks of life. And that's why I'm out here at my age, at 67, bro. Yes, sir.
What they told us that they was about, knowing that we are the indigenous capital of the land. That's my brother Key to break it down for you. He was on the grill knocking it out for us. And we fed everybody for free. By the way, all what we did do a thing. God fed everybody. You know what I'm saying?
On Thanksgiving, the Puritans, people who came from Europe, killed my people off, and they got diseases and smallpox and stuff like that. And every Thanksgiving day was a slaughter. There were Thanksgiving days 3 or 4 times a week. So every time there was a slaughter of my people, there was a Thanksgiving celebration. So the President Abraham Lincoln decided to stop the slaughtering by declaring one national day of Thanksgiving. And that's how we get today, the one national day of Thanksgiving, to stop the slaughtering that happened all year of the native people. My people, your people.
No, you did. I can't.
That right there, and we're going to keep it moving. So, my brother Keelan, who's on the topic of Yitschaq, right? So now we hear another elder from New Orleans, right? Let him explain how from
Blessings and love, family. This is the Elder Rasan Shakur out of New Orleans, Louisiana, coming to you with another great and informative video. Peace and blessings to all the melanated family and mankind. Well, family, this video is going to be about Thanksgiving and why black people should never celebrate it. That's right. Thanksgiving was a celebration of the genocide of the Pequot Indians, melanated Indians, just like me and you. In 1637, the massacre was led by a general named James Mason, and they committed genocide. The Pequot Indians was in Rhode Island, Connecticut, New Jersey. That's right. And these devils came in and committed genocide, just like they committed genocide in New Guinea, New Zealand, Australia, Africa, and everywhere else. The one that came on the sweet Jesus. That's right. Went in there and took the land, committed genocide on these indigenous people of America, not the Asiatic so-called people, not these $5 Indians. That's right, the Pequot Indian was already here, just like the Seminoles and the Choctaws and the Cherokees and the Iroquois and the Blackfoot, the Navajos, and on and on and on.
Yeah.
The Olmecs, the Incas. Huh.
That's right.
We was already here on this land before European invasions that came from England and France and Spain and Germany and everywhere else. That's right, family. So I don't celebrate no Thanksgiving.
That's right.
And they got information about this, the Pequot Massacre of 1637. Just Google it up. And they got a sister. I put the video in my like video. You can go there and check it out. I forgot the sister name, but if you Google the Pequot Massacre of 1637, it'll pop up. That's right. And in the thumbnail, I would show the melanated people. They're gonna be in the thumbnail. A lot of them exist today. That's right. And we out here celebrating the genocide of our own people. Thanksgiving. It was their celebration. And after that, Abraham Lincoln made it a law. You know, every Thursday of November, whatever day in November, which would be a Thursday. And there gonna be a lot of our people out there celebrating Thanksgiving and don't know the history and where it come from. None of our ancestors celebrated Thanksgiving, Christmas, New Year's, 4th of July, or none of that nonsense. All that was put into our psyche from generation to generation, all the way from slavery time up to now. So y'all go check it out. You can Google it, the Pequot Massacre of 1637. That's right. And the correct spelling will be in the title. And you will see some of our brothers and sisters in the thumbnail that ruled that land. It was their land. Just like the whole planet is ours.
That's right.
But there's going to be a lot of our brothers and sisters out there celebrating Thanksgiving, celebrating Christmas. Keep the money in your pocket. Stop celebrating the enemy.
Stop celebrating
holidays.
Like, you know, at the time, that's when you got to shopping.
Sorry about that, family.
No shit.
Sorry about that. Yeah, we need to stop celebrating the white man holidays on our land.
On our land.
That they over there in South Africa fighting them devils, trying to get them out of there. Everywhere they go, all they do is cause problems, genocide,
everywhere.
No peace. Never been no peace. And the only way they're gonna be peace when he's eliminated and eradicated from this planet. Peace and love. Put up the likes and shares, and stay tuned for the next video or live stream. There will be a live stream. I will try to do one about 3, 4 o'clock, and I'm out. Peace, blessings, and love, family.
Let y'all see Elder's channel. So his channel is Baba Rashan Live. So y'all can check out his channel and other things that he has. But what he's saying and what my brother Keelan said is we have to be very clear that these people came here and killed us through their manifest destiny, through their not just manifest destiny, but through a thing called Bacon's Rebellion. And we're going to play the Bacon's Rebellion, but there's something important that the elder said that I want people to understand, is that when the Europeans came here, we were already here. And as we know as tribes, right, we understand that that's what the law of the land was tribes. But they were all kind of tribes. They weren't just Hebrew tribes. They were Hamitic tribes, like there were the Mayans. Those were tribes that believed in the Egypt divination, right? They believed in and they built pyramids in that way. When you do your history, you do your research, you will note that there has been two types of pyramids built from the beginning of time. There were pyramids built with huge stone, and there were pyramids that have been built with earthworks. Two different types of people, two different types of tribes. Everybody wants to act as though that when we are bringing forth this Hebrew word and that we are attaching it to our Inyan culture of New Orleans, that we are trying to take over the culture and say that all of it is Hebrew. Man, that's no. But what I will tell you is that the Hebrew element, the righteous element, has been missing from this land. That's why this land is full of the iniquity that it is, because Egyptian and Greek and Romans are all one. So yeah, they had tribes here that subscribed to the Egyptians. They had tribes here that believed in divination. They had tribes here that were definitely African tribes. And you had tribes here that were descendants of the 12 tribes. You had also the tribes of the Nephilim, the giants, the ones that were buried in and put in caves that had the red hair and were giants. What are we confused about here? And why we have panties in a bunch? Is the question. If you know what you are and you know who you are, then nobody can change you from that. Then your doctrine should be solid. Then your foundation of your life should be solid. It should be so solid that you should not be concerned about a little old man, a little old Hebrew, a little old word called a scripture. You know, it should not be an issue. We have to understand that what has been missing in this world, in our community, in our tribes, is the righteousness. We all have done Get It How You Live. We all have done the federal funding and government funding and getting along and politics. And we've done Europe. We've done Rome. We've done Egypt. It's here. And if you think you can't make room for the Most High, if you think you can't make room for the Most High, yeah, you tried everything else. Nah, try Yah. Try the Most High. Alahayim Yeshua Alahayim. Try searching for something different, because I'm going to tell you right now, trying to recreate Egypt or recreate Rome or recreate Greece or recreate the United States in our own image is stupidity at its highest level. It is doing the same thing, expecting a different result. They call it insanity.
Just be black.
You know, but understand where the Hebrews come from. We don't care. We do not care what you believe in. We care that you will not allow yourself to be oppressed by the enemy. We express to you who I'm on fire. Pray, that's my brother Shotgun. You know what I'm saying? We are in a position to bring forth righteousness in a place that's had none. we are in a place right now where being of what was old should be clear that it doesn't work. Even the ones that gave it to you, they fallen. The Pope who gave you the game, he didn't gave it over to the UN. The president that's supposed to be over the laws, he didn't gave the game up over to the Zionists in Israel. And he came from Britain. I'm telling you that the whole board is changing. The whole chessboard is changing right now. Now you can decide to fight your brothers again, or you can decide to get on a side that you know is fighting for the right thing, that's fighting for goodness. I don't care how corny that sound. I don't care how nerd that sound. I'm the corny guy on the block right now with a big old spirit backing me up. Big old spirit, as we say. Chawa, right? I got a big old spirit walking with me. And it's real corny like. It's real nerd like. It's real about being humble and making the right decision and letting that be the thing that says that I'm a man. That I made the right decision in the uncomfortable times. That I made the most highest decision in a time when I could do as thy wilt and I could manifest my destiny. See, we're real simple. This is a real simple understanding. Yeah. See, you wonder how the Iroquois, how the Chitimacha, how the Cherokee, how all of us can succumb. You're talking about, you got to understand history. History tells you that they came over here as planters. They came over here as indentured servants, multiplied, created an army, fought the people here, the indigenous, all these black ass men fought us, subdued us, then took their independence from England. These some bad ass white boys, huh? Oh, and that's where I'm going, sister. And that's where I'm going, sister. The reason why they were able to be succumb, because they praying to animals. They're praying to fallen angels. They're praying to shapeshifters. So they were praying to all of these shapeshifters, all of these fallen animal demon-likes, because the Most High says in the book very, very clearly, he says that man and animal was all profaned before the flood. That means they were doing gene splicing, that what he created, they had altered. That's what that means when it says it's been profaned. What he created was pure. You pure, you're pure, I'm pure. He created us to be pure. Our desire is to do our own will, to do as thy will, to manifest our own lowest chakra vibration makes us impure. That's what makes us impure. So when we decide to tap into our impurity and we want somebody to tell us it's good, we want somebody to tell us that we deserve it, we want somebody to tell us that we supposed to we great kings and everything, that we could pray anything, just like the devil told Eve. You know why the Most High don't want you to eat this apple, this pomegranate? You know why he don't want you to eat from this tree of life? Because you're going to be like him. So they tell you the same thing. They tell you the same thing. this story, this massacre, this has been constantly rotating. The heathen, as T.D. Jakes came out with a book with, break the cycle. But that's what has to be done. The cycle isn't breaking from this particular oppressor and then we're going to create another society where I will oppress my brothers, because understand that politics, this government only works through the oppression of the poor. That's how it works. America cannot be America without the slaughter and without the slave labor of us. It doesn't work. This equal 40 acres and a mule, they didn't even do it to the indigenous servants. That's why I'm going to show y'all Bacon's rebellion. They didn't even give it to their own people that they brought here. So you're going to create a society that mirrors this oppressive, murderous society that's got its history from Alexander the Great, a fallen angel demon, that's got its mojo from fallen angels that were pharaohs that believed in divination, that came over here and saw that they had more people that was rocking in divination and said, you know what? We got the one true God. These people over here, they're believing in all these spirit animals and all this, when in actuality, the same people, the popes and whatnot, they believed in the same thing before Yasha came and gave his life, and then they wanted to overtake the area. So they said, we're going to take this story, we're going to take this one God thing, and we're going to put all our paganism in it, and we're going to give it back to them as slaves so we can subdue them. Call them saints that they. But you don't see it as the same thing. You don't see how all this is connected. You don't see that. You actually think that your existence over here was not connected to anything in the scripture, not connected to anything that's happening on the Eastern Hemisphere, that you were doing and rocking and doing your thing, had your temples and whatnot, and then the white man came and gave you disease. Really? The world has always been connected, fools. The world has always known itself. Now, if you want to go by modern history, they say the Phoenicians were the ones that mapped the world. But guess where the Phoenicians came? They came from Lebanon. And guess what they spoke? The Semitic language of the Hebrews. So when you talk to me, what you talking about? See, truth, truth will reign. When I say that big old spirit, it's the big old spirit of truth. Again, there were all types of tribes here. We always been about that drama. We always been about divination and following other gods. That's why we in the position that we're in, because we've been about that. So when we are talking about the fact of the procession of an inyan comes directly from Jericho, when we blew the shofar, when we blow the trumpets like we do in New Orleans, when they were called chiefs, when every tribe had a big chief. Am I tripping for telling you that you are emulating what's in the book when nigga you don't even know what you're emulating? I'm sorry. I'm in a hotel, y'all. They're gonna kick me out this bad boy. But don't tell me. Don't tell me. Don't tell me that what you do, that you have done from the beginning of your understanding, that came from an oral tradition that said that you went to Maroons for safety when they brought you in the transatlantic slave trade. And when we go as Hebrew State of Being and blackmasking.org, go to Jamaica to find the Maroons, to confirm the oral history that you have been told. And those people tell us that they are from the book. And you're going to tell me now that I'm tripping and you've gone nowhere? You've gone nowhere to seek the Father's face? You've gone nowhere to seek his word to see if it's true? You've done no searching to find out if the Father's word is true, but yet you're going to have problems with everybody else? Right? Understand that Yasha said from his words from the book You Think It's Crazy, that he said that when they come at you, call yourself Barakas. Call yourself in the same company as I, because they did it to me first. Heart don't pump, no fear. When the word has been laid for me, when the path has been laid for me. And to die on this battlefield, they say in Inyan Red, is honorable. So that's what you're dealing with. That's what you're dealing with. I'm looking for the honorable one. You know what I'm talking about? Because these people would have never succumbed to these Esau Europeans if they were following the Most High, if they weren't following divination, they weren't following fallen angels, if they wouldn't have not forgotten who they were. This book that we read from is not new. This is to keep us in remembrance. This is not new to you. When you read it, when you accept it, you will start reading and understand, whoa, 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 this happens every day. Whoa, whoa, I'm in the midst of this right now. Whoa, 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 this is what happened back then. It's still happening now. Whoa, you will say, this is only bringing into remembrance of who I am and my greatness. I'm sorry. Let me play a video. Let me get off of this. Let me play a video. Yeah, I don't want that to pull up, man. I'm trying, you know. Yeah, I'm going to go to Deuteronomy 28 right now. I'll pull this up for y'all, man. Because if you don't think you know who you are, you're not clear. That this has been written before. 28, 48. Deuteronomy chapter 28, verse 47. I'm going to read from my book. I know y'all going to see what the Masoretic text has on the screen, but I'm going back to where the names are restored. All right? So, Deuteronomy chapter 28, verse 47. And it reads, because you serve not the Most High with joyfulness and with gladness of heart for the abundance of all things. So it says that all things that was given unto you, you didn't want to give thanks to the Father. You said that Mother Earth, some broad that you didn't call Earth, you didn't made her a broad now because she produces life, right? Now you want to give God this male entity, but he's greater than a male or female entity. He's greater than that. Can you get your mind to understand that your creator is greater than man and woman? Can you wrap your mind around the thing that created you, created everything that you see, gave knowledge to everything and every man and woman so that they could create everything that you see? Did any man you know of in history create wind? I'm waiting for the name of the man that you know of that created air. I'm waiting for the man that created the sun. I'm waiting for the man that created the planets. Oh, we know who created the planets. It's called Copernicus. See, it was never known to be any such thing until the Jesuit priests, the Ashkenazi Khazarians mixed with Esau. We never had a concept of a planet. So we do know what man created planet, but what created the four pillars? What created this flat earth? What created the heavens? What created the fallen angels that you found? What created the lion? So it says you give not thanks, right, for the things that was given. And it says, because you serve not the Most High with joyfulness, with all gladness of heart, and the abundance of all things. Therefore you shall serve your enemy, which the Most High shall send against you, in hunger, and in thirst, and in nakedness, and in want, and in all things. And he shall put a yoke of iron upon your neck until he have destroyed you. Now, why is this thing not charged? 1 second, guys. It should be charged, and it's not. Understanding. One more time, guys. We gotta get this started. No, I was still right. It was still not plugged in. One second. Let's unplug it. Yeah, give it. There we go. Now we got juice. Forgive me. So I know this is a sensitive subject for people, man, because they want their God to be pretty. They want their God to be loving. They want their God to just let them do whatever they want to do. But that is not how it works. I know this is real sensitive. They don't like to hear the fact that he was the one that put the yoke on our neck. They don't want to hear the fact that he sent us. He sent the oppressor. No, they rather think that they can beat what's in front of them. They want to think that if we just come together, then we can beat the enemy. There's more of us than them. We got it organized. We got more resources in Africa. We got this. We know all this. Forgetting the fact of why you are in this position in the first place. As you are talking about all these plans of overthrowing something, you are missing why you're even there. And while you're focusing on the ones that are seemingly on top of you, again, you have doubled down on not realizing who has done this to you and giving praise unto them so that they can break this. Because I don't care how much COINTELPRO that there was in the 60s. There wasn't COINTELPRO in the 30s. Wasn't COINTELPRO in the 20s. We were never able to rise up as a community. Yeah, we can point to E.D. Du Bois and Melville Horowitz and all of the stories, the fictitious stories that they've given us. But the fact of the matter is, we've never been able to come together and mount an attack. We've never seen them been able to come together and do any type of collective economics. Yeah, think that that's just that's just niggas' fault. That's what it is. Because niggas just can't. So now you're talking like your oppressor now. Now you're spewing his words for Massa. Now you're talking for Massa. Because you ain't got no other answer than what Massa told you why you can't make it, why us as a community cannot rise up. The only answer you got is the answer that Massa give you. And then you got the ones in the hood that say, white man ain't never gonna let you do that. I'm tired of them answers. I ain't got no time for them answers. And it says, 49, the Most High shall bring a nation against you from far, from the end of the earth, as swift as the eagle flies. What is the emblem of the United States? An eagle. A nation whose tongue you shall not understand. A nation of fierce countenance which shall not regard the person of the old, nor show favor to the young, and he shall eat the fruit of your cattle and the fruit of your land until you be destroyed, which also shall not leave you either grain, wine, or oil, or the increase of your kind, or flocks of your sheep, until he have destroyed you, and he shall besiege you in all your gates, all your nations, all your hoods, everywhere. You think that the oppressor can do as good as he's doing if he didn't have help? You think that if it wasn't for us not coming back to the Most High, that he could actually do what he's doing? That's what I'm betting my life on. I don't believe so. I bet my life, my breath, every cent, every thought on that very thing, that the Father will not forsake me when I go to him. Will not. Yeah, I'm Katie bar the door on that one. Katie bar the door on it. You can continue to allow these sophisticated prognostications of these jailhouse prophets that read nothing, that search nothing, that does nothing, but is a barbershop pimp. You can do that. But just remember one thing. Your daddy did it. Your grandfather did it. Your great-grandfather did it. Great-great-great-grandfather did it. That's why you're here right now. Just remember that when you decide to roll with that. You can do what you like. Just keep that in mind. 52. And he shall besiege you in all your gates, until your high and fenced walls come down wherein you trusted, throughout all your land. And he shall besiege you in all your gates throughout all your land, which the Most High has given you. So let me ask you a question. I'm going to give this one as a ponder. I may not even answer it for you, but let's just ask the question. The terminology indigenous and aboriginal, we know that it means somebody that was there already when the Europeans came there. We know that to be one definition. That's a true one, because the Europeans came up with the definition, so therefore we can know that that's what they meant. When they rolled up on somebody's land that was already there, they said, oh, those people been here, that's indigenous. Well, let's take that deeper. Because we're thinking, right? We got our thinking cap on tonight, right? Shout out to Bamsy Baby, my boy. Huh? Yeah. How did the indigenous get there? See, the indigenous, they got several stories. The Mayas, they say they came from corn. They came from corn. But my point here, for my point is that if you were indigenous to a land that none of your forefathers said that you came from any other place, you've been there since you known or being known, you have been in this land. Then the Father put you in the land. Then that means the Most High put you there. So when it says right here, besiege you in all your gates throughout all your land which the Most High has given you. So when you say that you are indigenous, it is because it was the land that the Most High gave you where you at. Oh, but you don't know no creator though. You claiming indigenous and got no understanding that the very word indigenous means that you were put in this place by something supernatural, something other than you. So when he says he sent troops into a land that he gave you, because he placed you there, since you've known it, and tells you that he's brought in troops and he's going to besiege you and he's going to do all these things, then what you thinking, homie? Tell me how you rationalize that. Tell me, give me a 16 million year ago story. Come on, tell me. I'm waiting for it. You was here before. You got somewhere in your family, somebody got some book parchment, or maybe it was the hide of a dinosaur. That's what it is. You got some history of the hide of a dinosaur skin that says that your people was here beforehand. And how you got here off of the skin, the hide of the dinosaur's ass. Just prophecy. I'm like, I wasn't even going here tonight, right? I'm tired. I can't even believe the Most High got me going in like this. Because I didn't even have this type of spirit when I came on. I'm going to tell you right now, this is all the Most High. I put that on everything. So when you look at the word indigenous, aboriginal, and that means that nobody in the world knows how you got to where you are. However many 15 million years you want to add on, right? So a creator had to place you there. And the creator told you in this book. And by the way, this ain't everybody's book. This ain't the Egyptian book. This ain't for Egyptians, this ain't for Hamites. This ain't for Japhet. This ain't for Esau. This book ain't for none of them. So when you start to try and apply in this book to you, you got to ask yourself, is my name written in the book? Ask yourself that. Because maybe if your name is not written in the book because the Most High, the name's already in. By the way, before you was born, it was either in or out. All right. Now you can get yourself kicked out, just like Canaan did. You know what I'm saying? You can get yourself put out. But ask yourself, is this book for me? What if it's not for you? Okay. But don't come around here. Don't come around here with your ideology, because your ideology has nothing to do with this truth of my bloodline lineage. You feel what I'm saying? It's my bloodline. This book is about my bloodline. It's not about your fable. It's not about your concept of life. It's not about your ideas. It's not about your philosophy. It's not about your astrology. It's not about your astrology. You get what I'm talking about? Yeah, Brother Yuan said, who created trees? Who did that? You know what I'm saying? Most High says to us, and you shall eat the fruit of your own body, the flesh of your sons and of your daughters, which the Most High has given you in the siege and in the straitness, wherewith your enemies shall distress you, so that man that is tender among you and very delicate, his eyes shall be evil towards his brother. Why we can't come together as a community? Why we can't seem to come up with an intelligent force? We got all these athletes with money. We got these entertainers with money. We got these politicians with money. Why can't we seem? It says, yep, because we call that New Orleans what? Crab barrel mentality, right? So Deuteronomy chapter 28, verse 54 says, so that the man that is tender among you and very delicate, his eyes shall be evil towards his brother and towards the woman in his bosom and towards the remnant of the children which he shall leave. Now I could be up here and connect that to homosexuality real easy, like.
That's just my baby.
You know what I'm saying? I could real easily, like, we'll talk about the most delicate man amongst us. What would we call the most delicate men? In our hour, right? So I could make this connection to that, but I'm not even gonna make the connection to the homosexuality. I'm gonna take it to the studious nerd, the nerd, the one that's scared won't bust a grape in a fruit fight, but got an evil thought in his mind constantly. So that little nerd grows up to be what? A politician, maybe a cop, community activist, whatever, right? So got evil in their eye all the time, steering brothers and sisters on confusing paths of confounding knowledge. I'm shouting out the Moors right now. Yeah. They got a cycle. They got a paperwork. Boy, let me tell you, the Moors got a system of paperwork. If anybody should be accused of killing trees, it should be the Moors. But anyway, understand that this is the reason why we can't get together. Because as you talk to one brother and think that he's all accord with you, he gets off with you and goes and does evil. Then now you rocking back with that brother, think y'all about to do some things, and the father say, I can't bless that union, homie. Because see, even though you follow him righteous, your partner not. And I can't take you to the level that you done earned until you shake some of that baggage. See, what I got for you, you earned. It ain't went nowhere. But are you strong enough to shake the baggage? Are you strong enough to not fall for the fables and the lies? Are you strong enough? Are you strong enough to stand on his word in the midst of judges and proclaim his name with a guillotine next to you, with a bullet next with your name on it, with some tough guys in front you want to rough you up. You gonna stand on his name or you gonna take the vaccine? You're gonna say this is another way to make money. It's not a new world order. It's not that we're under their order right now. No, I'm a free man. I'm a black man. I can do whatever I want to do. I'm a black woman. I'm a queen. I'm independent. You're under an order right now. Beast system that this scripture speaks on. That's now being flipped over to a new world order that this scripture speaks on. But you can tell me about how great you were 6 million years ago. 55. So that he will not give to any of them of the flesh of his children whom he shall eat, because he has nothing left in him in the siege and in the straitness wherewith your enemy shall distress you in all your gates. The tender and the delicate woman among you, which would not adventure to set the sole of her foot upon the ground for her delicateness and her tenderness. Her eyes shall be evil towards the man of her bosom, and towards her son, and towards her daughter. Oh, you thought my daughter Zion, I was leaving y'all out, or you thought the Most High would leave it out? No. Why our community can't get right? Because a brother may connect with another brother, say we're gonna do this, then he go home, and the woman is like, man, that you gonna be out there, that sound real good. There'll be a lot of women gonna want you at that point. Wait, that guy single that you doing this thing with? Wait, what meeting y'all went to? Let me see your phone. No, I don't like that. Or better yet, that dude, he tried to hit on me. I see the way he be looking at me. I'm just telling you. I'm here. I'm supposed to be your woman. I got your back. I'm just saying, the dude ain't right. You think I'm in the bed with this woman? This is my heart. And now she telling me that this brother that I done vetted, this brother I done made sure I done checked his credentials in the hood. I done checked his credentials on many levels, politics and so forth. And my spirit resonate with it, but my woman say it ain't right. And every time I go to do business, she always blocking it. She always got problems. Evil in their eyes. Men, we got nothing on a woman's wiles. We got nothing on a woman's plans and actions. We still believe in I can put them hands up at the end of the game, or we get to the point where man, I ain't trying to play no more game. Nigga, what you want to do? See, women, they don't have that. They ain't got that physical thing of, yeah, well then let's make it happen. We're going to see what the pecking order is today. Women ain't got that thing in the back of their mind while they arguing with you that, you know what, yeah, I know I could sweep his foot. I'm going to snatch his neck right now. I'm going to pull his lungs out from out his mouth. No. They have visions of killing you, but they can't actually commit it as a man can commit it. So they go to the next level of how I can get this one next week, or next Monday, or 2 months from now, or better yet, a year from now, was unsuspecting. My brothers, you have gone way past that thing, and they ain't never forgot it. You wonder how our community's not making it? You wonder why we can't come together? Oh, it's written. But you know, you might be a little too delicate for that. You may not want to hear them type of truths in your life. You may want to try and find an alternative answer. You may want to try and find an alternative way of getting around this game. You may want to try and find an alternative way of interpreting the inevitable. All you can do, like my city said, get in line, because I'm in line with the Father. Oh, all day. Because I got in line. He dropped me 16 and a half feet. Y'all have no idea the wars I done been through. Y'all got no clue. Because I don't speak on it and I don't put out my personal. What is a Hebrew? Right? What is a Hebrew? A Hebrew is told to keep your mouth shut, be humble, pray, and let his hands be shown. Because his first time his hand was shown during the Abraham time, they called him the destroyer, Shadiah. Look him up. He's the same one that was in the burning bush. Yeah, be slow to speak. Be slow to speak. Yeah, man. So it goes. 57. And towards her young one that comes out from between her feet, and toward her children, which she shall bear, for she shall eat them, for want of all things secretly in the siege and straitness wherewith your enemies shall distress you in your gates. And see, I'm so glad my sister brought this one out, because see, this is where the Egyptologists, this is where the polites in the world, this is where the side netters, this is where all the naysayers like to go to. Y'all eat your children. Yeah, what do you say? Yeah, the Moors, royalty, all them boys, they like to go to that line. Y'all eat your children. Let me ask you a question. A woman in the project that's prostituting her 3 daughters, is she not eating them? Big Mama had the boys on the block doing their thing. That ain't eating our children up. Y'all say that even Hillary Clinton called us predators. We in our own community predating who? Ourselves. So what when we talking about eating ourselves, y'all, as my sister like to say, you niggas is sottish. You so petty and simple-minded. You thinking with your lower chakra every opportunity. We have been eating our children every time we send them out to this world to be a politician. Every time we send them out in this world to be another black cop killing our community. Every time we send them out to be a part of the system that is destroying our community. And they come home after the education, come home with all the titles, and they sit down with grandmama. And grandmama said, baby, why all these things going on in the world? You out there in that system now. You all your life we raised you and paid for you to go to college so that you could affect the system. What's going on? And that man or that woman would sit there and lie to that woman in her face and tell her, I've been trying, but the system is just, I've been trying and I did this, and start telling her some fictitious lies. When the truth that they know from the time they was in that Greek sorority or fraternity, that they were now part of a beast system that was about the elite. And her grandmama and her daddy and all them people in the hood was, well, Goyim. They are casualties of war. They need to do like you did. Go to college and lace your bootstraps up and make something of yourself. What are we talking about? What are we talking about in this hour? Biden is bringing in the vaccinations. The UN is already making it done internationally. They told you it takes 3 years to do a clinical trials for a vaccine. They've done it in less than a year, and you're okay. They tell you they got nanoparticles in it that's going to alter your nervous system, and you're okay with it. You don't want to believe that is the mark of the beast that's written in this same book. Because if you had to admit that is the mark of the beast, then maybe you have to admit the rest of this has its validity as well. What a coinky thing. And I'm going to end on this part because we're going to get to this Obadiah, and I want to show y'all this video Because see, after all of y'all, many people think they know about slavery, right? You think you know how slavery came about, that it's nice and neat for you, right? That it was these evil white people. They went and got us good black folk from all across the sea just minding our business, brought us on over here, and with the intent of putting us in slavery. See, it's a little misguided on how we get, because things is progression. Things don't just happen. It's a progression. That's what they call the slippery slope. Y'all are waiting for something to pop out of the sky, or the military, the police to come down the blocks. What you don't understand is that when the military police come down the blocks, everything is already done. They've already got the legislation in. They've already got the laws in. So you can't fight the fact that they're rolling through the streets. See, this slavery, this industrialized slavery that we are under right now, did not just happen overnight. America was our homeland, and we were following these false gods. We were in this divination. The Europeans came. They did not come, as they tell you, for Thanksgiving, as the pilgrims, and they came across in this boat and they just wanted to find a new life. No, they came with the House of Burgess out of London. They were planters, they were industrialists that came here. The industrialists used the worst of Britain to come here to be their slave labor, indentured servants. While they were killing us and getting the lands that they could push us back on through treaties, because what you don't know is that the indigenous that were here originally, they struck a deal with the House of Burgess in the beginning. Yeah. It was a real. See, that's why the Moors continue to tell you that America that the Britain did a deal with them in order for them to take over this land. See, y'all. Let's go. So the Moors, as I said earlier, were part of those tribes that were here, that were part of Egypt and divination. You had Moorish tribes here. You had Egyptian tribes here. You had Hebrew tribes here. The Moors, who were back and forth from the Americas because the Moors ran Spain, right? Remember the Dark Ages? They ran Spain. Oh, you think that they didn't come over here to America because the white people told you that the Dark Ages, that they didn't have knowledge, that it was about the Renaissance when they took over, that all of a sudden everything went to popping and they found a new world. No. For 800 years, the Moors ruled. And the Moors came back and forth to America. They traded with the indigenous tribes here. So when you understand that this our concept of slavery and transatlantic slave trade has so much deeper layers to it, that when you are swimming in the pool of their transatlantic slave trade spell, you are just that, in a cycled spell that runs you back to Africa, back to here, back to oppression, back to Africa, back to here, and you're missing everything else. See, the indigenous cut a deal. It was called the Powhatans. They had most of the East Coast, the Powhatans. That's where you hear of Pocahontas. Pocahontas was the chief's daughter. The Powhatan were a tribal community. So they cut a deal with Europe. Europe came in with their slums from Europe, and they had them boys working indentured service and told them boys they were going to give them 50 acres if they survived their indentured servitude. This is before the slaves came. This is before the transatlantic slave trade. Told them boys, we're going to give you 50 acres. But when they started actually doing it, they ran out of acres upon the original agreement and treaty with the Powhatan. Because it's about tobacco and hemp, homie. That's what it was about. It was about tobacco and hemp farming, homie. They tell you about tobacco, but it was hemp. Hemp is what they used to make ropes in the old world. Came from marijuana. Yes, there are way more uses to marijuana than you can imagine. Not just medicinal. So these East Coast Indians of Powhatan, remember his daughter was named Pocahontas. And to this day, Pocahontas in Virginia is known as the first black community in the United States. Now, how you kill all the Indians and then say Indian community that you took over is now the first black community inside of your Jamestown. It's the first black community inside of your United States. Y'all understand it? Follow with me. Follow with me on this thing's lies, on this lies of Thanksgiving, this Thanksgiving. All right? So this daughter, just like in all ancient ceremonies, when governments are coming together, they marry into each other. So Pocahontas was to become a wife of the Burgess house. That one didn't work out though. But she did wind up marrying one, and she did go over to England. And so did her father. He died there. And that's what kicked off after the Iroquois, after what I'm going to show you about the Iroquois massacre. After the Iroquois massacre, it was because the brother of the father of Pocahontas, Pocahontas lived, but he died in Europe. And they thought it was real suspicious that their chief went over there and died. So they kicked off war here. See, when you want to come at me because I'm speaking about knowledge, you better be able to come with some more knowledge. You better know something other than how you feel. You got to come up with more than black power when we want to discuss facts and what we should be doing in this hour and where we should be going. So this business deal that went astray, right? That went awry, right? Because first the Europeans kicked out the Moors on the deal, right? So then they came in and now they want to give the lands to these people. And then all of a sudden, out of nowhere in 1619, they get 22 black slaves on the sea. Well, hold up. If Britain wasn't in slavery, how did the British have the transatlantic slave trade? I want to wait for a second. I'm going to say that one more time. If the British, the English, that is responsible for the transatlantic slave trade, did not get slaves by going and capturing them. They got a ship in the middle of the Atlantic that was a Spanish ship that needed supplies. So they traded, they bartered. The Spanish ship gave them the 22 slaves to go work in the fields, and they gave them food and provisions so that they could make it back to Spain. So, y'all following us here? The Spanish was already in the slave trade. The Spanish had been in the slave trade since 711. You get the time dates? 711 was called the Reconquista. Look it up. The Reconquista. 711 up until the 1600s when the British got a couple of slaves from them. Do you understand how many years of slavery was going on? And let's also look at that story and say, wait, why was the Spanish ship taking slaves from America and going to Spain? Because remember, the English ship was coming from England to America. Think about it. I'm giving y'all a second to put it together. Oh, Ash in the building, she said, "I'll be a little late tonight. Kids didn't want to down. for bed tonight. It was one of those nights. All praise to the Most High allows you to get them babies to bed tonight so you can tune in. But understand that the Spanish had been involved in the slave trade for over 1,000 years, or close to 1,000 years, 900 and some odd years. When they gave their first slaves, when they gave British, the English, their first slaves, and that the Spanish were taking slaves from America and taking them to Spain and toe tagging them and then putting them down into the Ivory or the Slave Coast where they bred us. So when the British, 900 some odd years after the Spanish started the slave trade of taking the indigenous tribes that were here from New Mexico to South America and the Southeast. So now we're in the East Coast, right? Why do you think that the English started this stuff on the East Coast and transatlantic slave on the East Coast? Well, the Spanish and the French had already divided South America, the Caribbean, and Southeast of America. That would be us, Texas to Florida, by the way. They had already divvied it up. As a matter of fact, the French had all the way from Louisiana all the way up to Minnesota. So this Thanksgiving, this whole concept that the pilgrims just floated their little lily white asses across the Atlantic Sea and rolled up on some Indians, it's an absolute lie. They do lie. So back to complete our story. So now you have the Spanish gave them 22 slaves. They came and worked the fields, but they had already a bunch of whites, indentured servants already, and the indigenous people they had an agreement with. This is a very different America than the one that we were taught in the school system. This is a very different story than what we were told in the school system. Because we were told that the Indians were savages. How could they tell us that we were in a business deal that the Americans double-crossed? Oops. Right? Oops. So let me wrap it up, man. Let me wrap it up. So when they brought these 22 slaves here in 1619, right? And you got the House of Burgess on the East Coast doing tobacco. They're farming tobacco. They start putting these 22 slaves into work, which came from where? No, they didn't come from Africa. Y'all missed that part, right? I knew I was gonna get you. I knew I was gonna get you. If the Spanish ship was coming from America, going to Spain with slaves, that means that they weren't bringing slaves from Africa back to America, then back to Spain. That means that they were taking a new cargo of slaves to Spain. So that means that they didn't get the slaves from Africa. Voila dee da. Think about it, y'all. Those 22 said slaves could not have been coming from Africa. They were crossing ships. So when they actually brought the slaves here in 1622, they were actually slaves that came from South America that just now found themselves up in the eastern seaboard of North America. Well, to say the least, I'm going to leave it right there because now we're going to Bacon's Rebellion. Because once that happened, as the indigenous were being straight off, the system that the Burgess, House of Burgess, and all these different House of London, House of Burgess, and there was a third one that came in, all of these houses that were tobacco planters that brought in all these Caucasian ex criminals and whatnot here, that when they started bringing in these slaves, so-called, they started connecting. Because after the 22 slaves worked out, and they realized that the Caucasians realized that it was much easier to go ahead and get slaves from the Spanish than to give 50 acres of land to our own. Get it? See, the decision to bring in slaves from the Spanish was only an economical one. Let's go. Yeah, Africans don't even like us, huh, Ashley? So let's get this bacon set up.
Hello, welcome to the Daily Bell Ringer. Please don't forget to subscribe and take a look at the questions down in the description. So when we talk about Bacon's rebellion, we're not referring to an uprising of delicious breakfast food against those of us consuming it. Rather, we're talking about a rebellion that took place in Virginia 100 years before the American Revolution. This rebellion would have an unintended outcome that would be terrible and long-lasting. In order to understand the rebellion, we have to look back and recall how Virginia was founded at Jamestown and that the colonists there began growing tobacco, which required a lot of labor. Indentured servants were the main labor, and if you recall, indentured servants were people who worked for a master for a certain period of time, usually 7 years, and in exchange, the plantation owner would pay their passage to America. Beginning in 1618, the Virginia Company of London began offering head rights to anyone that came to the Virginia colony. Now, hopefully you're asking yourself, what is a head right? A head right was the offer to any colonist, man, woman, or child that could pay their own passage to America, and they would receive 50 acres of land. This was a great offer, and many Englishmen were eager to take up the Virginia Company on this because there was little land in England available. But here's what happened. Wealthy plantation owners who were paying the passage for indentured servants to come over here would take the indentured servants' head rights as soon as they arrived in America. So plantation owners could basically build plantations overnight. Say a plantation owner paid for a family of a father, mother, and 2 children, that would equal 200 acres of land they would get. Problem was, indentured servants' contracts would run out, and eventually they would be free from being under the plantation owners, and you can guess what they wanted when their contract was done. They wanted their land. And so, William Berkeley had been the governor of the Virginia colony for many years, and in the 1640s, William Berkeley had been the governor over the Virginia colony for many years, and in the 1640s he had made a deal with area Native American tribes that gave him a large piece of land, which he basically divvied up among some of his friends, and in exchange for this land, Berkeley promised to limit the movement of colonists westward and stop them from taking Native American lands to the west in Virginia. Now enter Nathaniel Bacon. In 1674, he arrived in America and purchased a plantation near Jamestown. Bacon came from a prestigious family in England and was related to Sir Francis Bacon, who was a well-known statesman back in England. Bacon was quickly put on Governor Berkeley's council, but very soon they began to butt heads because Berkeley and him disagreed over the treatment of Native Americans. Nathaniel Bacon argued for moving further west and taking Native American land, while Berkeley abided by the deal he had made with Native Americans years before. So basically, Bacon was upset that Berkeley would not allow him and other settlers to attack Native Americans and take their land. So, not a very just cause, but nonetheless, Bacon began to gain more followers. Many of the former indentured servants who were getting out of their contracts and had no land of their own became supporters of Bacon and his plan to get more land pushing to the west in Virginia. Bacon also argued that the safety of the colonists was in jeopardy because of Berkeley's policies. Well, you can probably guess what happened. Some colonists began to attempt to settle into this western frontier of Virginia, and they end up being attacked by Native Americans. And that was all it took for Bacon and his followers to start the rebellion. In early 1676, Bacon organized about 60 colonists, and they began conducting their own raids of Native American villages, killing men, women, and children. After these raids, the House of Burgesses, remember the first representative body in America, met and passed what was known as Bacon laws that took some power away from Governor Berkeley and also gave voting rights to men who didn't own land. And they hoped that this would be enough to satisfy Bacon and his growing rebellion. But it was not. Bacon in about 500...
Now, what he just said was how we were able to have in the Reconstruction of America after the Civil War. Louisiana had more black politicians, indigenous people, that were the politicians at the time. And I asked this question a couple of weeks ago because Dane Calloway posed it. Shouts out to Dane. When he said, well, how if the requirement to be a politician is that you had college and you had these things, well, how was it that, and being able to read, how was it that we were able to run the Senate and the Congress and have elected if we had to have a voting right in 1964? How were we able to have elected officials in the 1800s if we had to fight for voting rights in 1964? Well, what he said was that this Bacon's Rebellion brought that about, but this Bacon's Rebellion brought about a couple of horrific things, because Bacon's Rebellion was the gateway into slavery. Now understand that who Sir Francis Bacon is. Sir Francis Bacon, who is the cousin of this dude, Bacon's Rebellion, he was the Queen's counsel. He also was the one that created the scientific method. Scientific method tells you in the United States and in all the world that if you can't recreate it 3 times, then it's not real. It's an anomaly. Well, guess what? You can't be created 3 times. See, humans, we're an anomaly. And according to the scientific method, humans don't exist. Because they said you have to be able to replicate the same thing with the same parameters, the same principles, and create the same thing in order for it to be true, for it to be a scientific fact. Well, that goes directly against the Most High in his creation. That goes directly against how he operates. So understand that Sir Francis Bacon is also responsible for the English language in which we speak right now. Yes, Sir Francis Bacon was the one that came up with this demonic language that many of us say is a spell when we speak it. Yes, it is, because he was an occultist. He had a society called the Helmet Society, which were believers in Diana. So his cousin came down here into America and decided that he wanted to take over the lands. Where do you think he got that from? His cousin was Sir Francis Bacon. They believed that America was the new Atlantis. They believed that this was their new playground. And all they had to do was kill us. Sir Francis Bacon. And now this guy with Bacon's Rebellion. So let's go.
Followers marched on Jamestown and demanded that Bacon be given permission to attack Native Americans.
Now I forgot my part that I stopped before, was that voting was given in this laws here for anyone in the land. No color, no creed, no nothing. When Bacon's Rebellion came out, it said that all people were now able to vote.
With his new little army, Governor Berkeley refused as Bacon and Berkeley openly argued in the streets of Jamestown. Members of the House of Burgesses were threatened and then agreed to Bacon's demands. Bacon continued his raids on Native American villages throughout the late summer of 1676 as Governor Berkeley organized his own militia to put down the rebellion. So Bacon and Berkeley's forces began to clash, and on September 19, 1676, Bacon and his militia marched on Jamestown, burning it to the ground and forcing Governor Berkeley to abandon the capital and run. And now Bacon was in charge. But within weeks, Nathaniel Bacon would die of dysentery on October 26, and the rebellion would begin to fall apart after his death. Berkeley's forces began to fight back, and shortly after, the entire rebellion was over and Berkeley was back in control, and 23 of the leaders of the rebellion were rounded up and executed. And not long after that, Governor Berkeley was actually taken out of control by King Charles II, who feared a civil war breaking out in the colonies. But now you might be asking yourself, why is this rebellion even important in history? Berkeley remained in power. Bacon didn't achieve what he hoped to achieve. But here's the terrible unintended outcome of the rebellion. Plantation owners became very fearful of using indentured servants for labor. Most of the rebels fighting were former indentured servants wanting land. And so plantation owners wanted a labor force that would never be out of their contracts and would never get land. Hence, you can guess what we see, a significant rise in enslaved Africans being forced to work on these plantations. So with that, hopefully you learned something, and thanks for watching.
Now, what he didn't tell you guys, and I'm going to see if I can pull it up right quick, because this is something very important, is to let you know the climate of the people at the time. Laws. So the laws that came out of Bacon's rebellion were slave laws. As the guy touched on it very, very lightly. So, since I can't find it right now, I'm going to tell it to you. You can look it up on your own time. Bacon's Rebellion, the laws that came out of Bacon's Rebellion, because white women were marrying black men. They were marrying slaves. See, I must have pulled it down. As the guy said before, in the time of Bacon's Rebellion, slavery wasn't prominent. So when they, the men that came in on the ships that were considered slaves, there was because there were so many Caucasians dying, not everyone was able to fulfill their indentured servitude contracts. The ones that were able to push it and create the problems of getting more land. But as you could tell from Burgess, it wasn't that big of a problem with the land and the indentured service. It was the fact that Bacon was part of another scheme from the England to try and take over the lands. The women that came over at that time would marry these said slaves, the black ones. In Bacon's Rebellion, part of their law was that a white woman would also become a slave if she married a slave. And if they had a child together, that child would be automatically a slave, and it would last up until the age of 18. So Bacon's Rebellion put into slavery children coming. It put into anyone that was into a bond with a slave, white woman or not, Caucasian woman or not. There was such a major problem between indigenous, the white women, and the slaves becoming and the whites becoming a group, that the House of Burgesses, the House of London, and all of those had to come together and create this government. They had to create another enemy besides them, because they were on a small plot, land was being given out, slaves were being had, the women were married into the slaves. It was becoming one amalgamation. And the amalgamation was now getting tired of the light government that was put in place, that was still connected to England. So what they did was, okay, as the man said, we're going to wipe out all of this indentured servant now. All this is too much. We're not bringing no more Caucasians over here that can actually fight us. We're going to go back and revisit that situation of 1619, when we got the 22 slaves from the Spanish. We're going to now start bringing in these slaves. since Bacon's rebellion's law is in, that if you marry unto a slave, Caucasian or not, that you are a slave, and that child is a perpetual slave as well. That is when you started to get your transatlantic slave trade. But prior to that, your first 22 in 1619 were actually from the Americas. After this Bacon's rebellion, the English made a business deal with the Spanish, and then they started bringing from the slave coast. How do I know that to be a fact? Have you ever asked who owned the slave coast? Oh, y'all believe roots. Y'all believe that the British went down into the African jungle and they just started taking black niggas off the tree, right? They started taking monkeys and niggas off. They started grabbing them, throwing them on a boat. That is not how that happened. These British rednecks did not walk into Africa with a musket and round up all of these African slaves, right? No. When you find and look in history, you'll learn about the Portuguese. The Portuguese were those same said Spanish ship that was crossing with the British. Those Portuguese had turned the slave coast into the said slave coast. You think they call it the slave coast because that's where they started picking them up from? That's where they invaded them? No. That was the penal colonies. Those were the breeding colonies that the Portuguese, the Spanish, had been doing. What do you think they were doing in the 900 years of the reconquista of slavery? What do you think they were doing as being Moors? So that's why I don't rock with no Moors. Because you were the first slavers, homie. Yeah, we know Islam, you like to call on Islam. See, they like to move the names around. The Spanish don't want to be called Portuguese because that makes them the connection of the slavers. Moors don't want to say Islam per se because that connects you to being the first slavers. We got the word slave from the Slavics because the Islam enslaved the Slovakians first. That's where the word slave comes from. So when we are talking about who and what was running, we're talking about slave owners that were both black and white. So when I sit here talking about bringing in the Hebrew, the understanding of righteousness into our Inyan culture, it's because if you study, you will find that this Inyan culture was infiltrated by Moors, by Europeans, and now you have this drunken rivalry in which we call a second line. See, the Moors were taking slaves from the Americas, connected with the Spanish, the Portuguese. It's called the Dark Ages. See, there was also some of us Negroes that was participating in that as well. These Moors and English, well, the English moved the Moors out, obviously, when they took over. And that's why they knew where to come and get us from, because the Moors were already coming to get us, right? So when the British comes in and cuts the deal with the Spanish to get some of their slaves that they have been breeding in the slave coast, they brought them up here in the 1600s. And then when those slaves, and France in between, in particular France and Spain, when you look at the history books of New Orleans, the French history of New Orleans, go and check out the book of the French history of New Orleans. The French say directly that they took their slaves from one particular place, and that was called Wayuda. This holiday is a celebration of Europeans enslaving and massacring us bicoastally, internationally. we were taken in ships and brought to lands that we were not familiar with. We forgot our history in the midst of their propaganda, in the midst of them taking our Torah and giving us their Bible, giving us their matriarchal concepts. I said matriarchal concepts. That's why the Jews go by the mother, the maternal, to prove their bloodline as being Jews. Really? That's not how we rock with it. So let's look at Truth Unedited about this Thanksgiving, because we need to understand that what has happened to us in the Americas is broken treaties, broken business deals, and laws. It wasn't a big bad boogeyman, wasn't big bad guns, broken treaties, greed, the concept of wanting more, wanting to use the Caucasian to fight against your brothers, other tribes, that we allowed the devil to come in, and then we started emulating that said devil. And then we start believing that said devil's lies and his story, and then we fight our own brothers and sisters that go in and find the truth. Because it's uncomfortable for you when you hear that truth. Because it messes with your paradigm. Because it destroys what you think you know. Well, it shattered mine too. Let me tell you, it's so much more beautiful on this side. The side of truth and the side of knowledge and the side of knowing who you are. It is uncomfortable. And I can't make that any better. I can't make this sword be anything less than a sword. The Father said it was a sword. So I know sometimes when we come with this word, we offend, we hurt, we step on toes. It's the word that does it. If I add on to it because I'm passionate about the word, then all of a sudden it's me that's being the angry one, or it's me and it's not the word that's being said. I pray that y'all do not miss the fact that this is the word going forward.
Schools generally teach a conventional story about the meeting of pilgrims and Indians that finished with an amazing dinner. The end. But there's more to the tale. This video will explain the events around the first Thanksgiving and how it's not the image ingrained in tradition. At the start of the 17th century, southern New England was home to a variety of busy communities within several confederations. These were the people of the first light, and they called their home the Dawnland. Political leaders were known as sachems and had been trading with Europeans for over 100 years before the Pilgrims. Relations soured only after deceitful Europeans kidnapped locals to sell as slaves. Permanent European settlement was impossible due to the already high population of native occupants. But in 1616, tradesmen introduced a disease to the Dawnland, whose inhabitants died in droves from a lack of immunity. In 3 years, up to 90% were wiped out in several confederations, including the Wampanoag. Their head sachem, Massasoit, was aware of how close they were to being subjugated by their unafflicted enemy, the Narragansett. He was determined to save his people from such a fate. This was the political world the Pilgrims were about to enter. The Pilgrims were not called Pilgrims by their contemporaries. They were known as Separatists, a branch of the English Puritans. King James hated Puritans and began persecuting them in 1604, so the Separatists fled to Holland, where they were free to worship. But because they feared losing their national and communal identity, the congregation wanted a new place to plant their church. They decided on America and asked King James for a patent that would grant them rights to build a colony. They planned to make a profit catching fish to pay off the debts to their investors. The Mayflower set sail on September 6th. 2 months.
That part about the coming to plant, these were houses, the house of Burgess. These were not poor people. And as you say, that King James gave them the right to do it. They had to go to King James of England. Now, we know King James to be black. We also know King Charles to be black. So how could it be that this king could let these Caucasians come to this land and start a new kingdom? Well, one, King James was king of Scotland. He had just become king of England, and he could not stand these same said people. He also was in fighting with the Moors, but he also was in cahoots with the Moors, right? He's working with them, and they're trying to take over his power, circumvent his power, and he's trying to move them. He's trying to manipulate this. All this is happening as these Indians here are being killed by disease. Man, wait. So, King James, a black man, King Charles V, also a black man, the cousin of King James, was in cahoots with the Moors at the time, because that's who ran Spain, England, Portuguese at the time. So he laid up there and says, all right, you can go, but you got to pay me tribute. You don't have to go to the Dutch. You can go back over to America. We got some lands over there. We got some people we've been dealing with. You can go up over there, but you got to pay me tribute. How can King James, because 1492 is when Columbus came, but Columbus never made it to North America. He's only in Haiti and South America. Then De Soto came in 1545, and he never made it past Louisiana. He actually died in Louisiana. So, wait. This ain't adding up. Wait. So, 1492, 1540, where did King James, the English, get in on this? Because the French and the Spanish was locking this down. That's only because King James, like I said, the English were in cahoots with the Spanish and the Dutch and the Portuguese, right? So, but King James was playing a game that he ultimately lost, because Roman Catholic Church came on the scene. See, King James was fighting the Roman Catholic Church, and he was fighting Islam. Y'all don't hear me though. I know a lot of people gonna tell you King James was a faggot. They're gonna tell you a whole bunch of type of things, right, about King James. What we need to understand though is that King James didn't like nobody in England. He was from Scotland, and he believed in the Torah, and he had scriptures. When he had to take over England, he had to cut a deal to bring everybody together, the same way Abraham Lincoln set the slaves free. Yes, indeed, business deal. So he cut a deal with the Protestants and the Presbyterians to bring peace there, and doing that, he created the 1611 King James Bible, so that they could understand that they could not rule by parliament, but that they would rule by the scripture of having one king. See, the devil's about divination. The scripture says one king. King James was fighting everybody in England, and that's why he came out with the scripture, so that the scripture would show that there is only one king to be had in a land, and that king follows the Most High and is put in by the Most High. So King James was trying to tell these Presbyterians and all these newfound Christians that if we're going to do it, and I'm going to be your king, we're going to do it according to scripture, and I'm a king. There's not going to be that the parliament runs and then I answer to the parliament. So all of this is happening as this Thanksgiving thing is supposed to be happening, right? So England is under war. They tried to kill King James. James gives this, he gets cut off by the Moors, get kicked out. The Roman church comes in. They now take over the lands that these boys was doing in America. So now they are running their papal bull and saying that everything that's done in America is not done by King James, but done by the Pope. And that the Pope had the ultimate authority. See, they still got their true state system, where the parliament, the government still ran, but they had a Pope that could just be all spiritual like. I mean, I hope I'm not losing y'all tonight, because this Thanksgiving crap is just that, and it's layers of crap. It is absolute layers of crap that directly connect us to this faultiness of America, government, and fallen angels beast system. So now we're clear that King James was in the midst of a whole bunch of turmoil. He let these houses that was threatening him in his power to go ahead and come to America and set up shop and pay tribute back to England. It's 200 years after Christopher Columbus came to the Americas and started the slave trade that started and continued the slave trade, because the Spanish, through the Reconquista, had already been here. So the English came through Christopher Columbus. Get it? The Italians, the Romans, right? They came and discovered for the first time the Americas in 1492. But the Spanish had been over here. Yeah. All right. So now, after all them years of the Spanish slave trade, the Portuguese slave trade, setting up shop, defeating the Hebrews in that land, taking over shop of our lands in Africa, as well as Iberian Peninsula and Portugal. Now they're coming to our people that we have been trading with before the Roman Church came in, before the Presbyterians came in, before the Spanish came in, because we always known each other from the Phoenicians. No land was uncharted. Noah gave the land to Shem, Ham, and Japheth. The entire world was mapped out through scripture. The entire world. So when they tell you that he discovered America in 1492, when they tell y'all they didn't know about anything, well, how the hell did Noah can tell you in scripture all of Shem's land, all of Ham's land, all of Japheth's land, and it's all encompassing of every landmass on this earth? So now we are at this point of understanding that there's no such thing as a new world. It is a new people in charge, and how they're going to take over the new slave trade, and how they're going to be a part of the new slave trade. They killed off the indigenous here, brought in slave labor, and then went to war with the rest of the indigenous and broke 500 treaties as they did manifest destiny with their slave labor to build their forts, to build their plantations, to do their fields, while they killed the buffalo and everything of our way of life here.
Later, Cape Cod was spotted and 16 men were sent ashore to inspect the area. Unfortunately, the settlers didn't know how to fish and food was running out. They resorted to stealing from graves, homes, and storage pits to keep everyone alive. Then came their first hostile encounter with natives, but no one was killed. On December 12th, they reached New Plymouth. They did not land on any specific rock, but folklore insists they did. Construction began in January. By winter's end, 44 settlers would be dead from bad conditions. In March, they were surprised when a man named Samoset walked into New Plymouth, greeting them in English. He told them they were building on top of a village called Patuxet, whose residents had all died from the recent epidemic. It belonged to the Wampanoag, and their chief, Massasoit, was watching them. The settlers were eager to trade, so 5 days later, Samoset returned with furs and companions, including Tisquantum. Known famously as Squanto, he had come to tell them in perfect English that Massasoit had arrived. After years of dealing with Englishmen, the Sachem did not trust the newcomers. Edward Winslow was sent to be a hostage and declared the settlers' peaceful intentions. Satisfied, Massasoit walked into New Plymouth and was regally greeted by the governor. A peace treaty was created, ensuring mutual protection if attacked by enemies. With the help of Squanto, New Plymouth settlers began to fare better. He taught them how to grow crops and was absolutely vital as an interpreter. To the separatists, he was a gift from God. But in fact, Squanto had been kidnapped from Patuxet in 1614 and shipped to Spain to be sold into slavery. He ended up in London at
Wait. He was shipped to Spain for slavery? Didn't we just explain the Reconquista and that they have been taking people from America since 711?
the home of a merchant who taught him English and arranged for Squanto's return to the Dawnland in 1619. But Patuxet was now gone, wiped away by the epidemic. Massasoit took him in with suspicion because of his years abroad, but needed a translator to parley with the newcomers. He eventually sent his warrior Hobamok to live among the settlers and keep an eye on Squanto. By fall, the settlers had a bountiful harvest and a feast was held to celebrate. Massasoit showed up with 90 warriors and 5 deer for the meal. For 3 days, the English and Wampanoag ate and entertained one another. This was the famous first Thanksgiving children learn about in school. However, the word Thanksgiving would not have been used by these settlers to denote a harvest feast. For Puritans, a day of Thanksgiving was a day of fasting while giving thanks to God in prayer. But the story of Pilgrims and Indians does not end here. During New Plymouth's first year, Squanto had been up to something. Realizing his substantial power as the only English speaker of his people, he conceived a plan to overthrow Massasoit. He persuaded locals he could command the English to make war or peace at his will. Hobomok was suspicious of Squanto and warned Governor Bradford. Soon enough, they discovered Squanto's plot and informed Massasoit, who was furious. He demanded Squanto be handed over for a swift execution. Bradford refused. The interpreter was too valuable to give up. But according to the treaty, Squanto's life belonged in the hands of his sachem. Bradford finally conceded. He was about to hand over Squanto when an unidentified ship appeared. The alarm it caused delayed Bradford and worried Massasoit's envoys. Angered and impatient, they left. The ship carried 60 Englishmen planning to build a colony near Boston. They abused the Massachusetts locals, initiating a conspiracy to kill the colonists. Warned about the plot, New Plymouth's leaders launched a preemptive strike to save their impudent countrymen. It bought peace for a time. In that time, more Puritan settlers arrived, soon outnumbering the natives. And while the Pilgrims' Treaty with Massasoit lasted until the sachem's death, other Puritans were not concerned with such alliances. Their fanatic religious principles ensured no peace between the two cultures could last. To Puritans, Native Americans were the other, wild, savage, godless. With such an ideology, the outcome was inevitable. If they did not convert to Christianity and surrender their cultural identity, they had to be eliminated. The first Thanksgiving was a brief moment of harmony between two worlds, but sadly it was short-lived. The capitalist opportunities the Dawnland presented, combined with zealous puritanical beliefs, were incentive enough to wipe away the native inhabitants. There is nothing wrong with sharing a feast of thanks with loved ones, but remember the truth.
We're going to read from the book of Obadiah. I just explained to you guys how we fought amongst each other, how the slave trade had been happening way before the transatlantic slave trade, how there were different tribes of all types here, how the Moors and other Egyptian type tribes were here, and that tribes made deals with these said people, and those deals went bad on them. Many of us don't like to, don't have an understanding that as long as we can try to be like these people, as long as we try to emulate and attack them in the ways that they attack us, as long as we spend time on focusing upon them and not ourselves, is how we end up in this position. Is how our world is turned upside down. We will not be able to get out of this. We will not be able to get out of this yoke until we all circumcise our heart That means empty your vessel of everything you think you know, and then seek him and let him fill you. It ain't my words. I tell y'all, I always say, please go and read for yourself. Search for yourself. However you want to search for yourself. Don't just say that I'm talking crazy. Go and find him for yourself. And when you do, then you will clearly see that there's no way that we can be successful emulating anything that they have done. And if we lie to ourselves and say that these people stole from us in the sense that we taught them how agriculture, we taught them how to build things, yeah, but we didn't do columns like they did. We didn't do hewn pyramids as in Egypt, as in the Mayans. We did earthworks. We are the mound builders. We are the children of the light, the first light, not the fallen light. Seeking him and not trying to be like these people, not trying to recreate another Rome, Greece, Egypt, or United States. Us coming together as a people that's looking for one simple thing and be willing to die for it: righteousness. Be willing to die for righteousness. Because these people that we are fighting don't know righteousness. I'm not talking about your friendly person in the street that's either Asian or Caucasian or anything other than what you think is supposed to be your brother, your sister. I'm not talking about them. They are just as lost as some of our brothers and sisters that think that this United States is the end all be all. We're talking about principalities. We're talking about bloodlines and ancient hate. We're talking about a hatred for a particular people that is able to be seen from the beginning of time. We're at Obadiah, and it says, the vision of Obadiah says thus, Adonai Yahuwah concerning Edom. So they're talking about Yasha now. So we're talking about the right hand of the Most High that was the destroyer, and then became I am that I am, and then became in the flesh and became Yasha. And so he's referring to him in the physical form of Yasha. He says concerning Edom. Now, Edom is Esau. Edom is Rome. Edom is Rome. That means the Catholic Church. It says, we have heard a rumor from Yahuwah, and an ambassador is sent among the heathen. Arise ye, and let us rise up against her in battle. Arise, huh? Behold, I have made you small among the heathen. You are greatly despised. Again, the Most High says, we have heard a rumor that the Most High we have heard a rumor from the Most High, and an ambassador is sent among the heathen. An ambassador is sent among the heathen. Arise ye. So what is a heathen? A heathen is a Gentile. Arise ye, and let us rise up against her in battle. Behold, I have made you small among the heathen. You are greatly despised. The pride of your heart has deceived you. You that dwell in the cliffs of the rock, whose habitation is high, that say in his heart, who shall bring me down to the ground? Though you exalt yourself as the eagle. Again, as I said, we are not supposed to be following how to be like the eagle, the United States. And though you set your nest among the stars, meaning that you want to set your home amongst the fallen angels, thence will I bring you down, says the Most High. If thieves came to you, if robbers by night, would how are you cut off? Would they not have stolen till the day till they had enough? So it says, if thieves come to you, if robbers by night, what would stop them from robbing you? Would they not have stolen till they had enough? If the grape gatherers came to you, would they not leave some grapes? How are the things of Esau searched out? How are the things of Esau searched out? How are his things sought out, his hidden things sought out? All the men of your confederacy, Confederate Army, all the confederacy across the world have I got plug, I need plug. I'm glad everybody's in the building tonight. June in the building. Oh, I love that. Oh, I'm so humble. June is in the building. I hope you're enjoying it, June. Because we'll talk about these end times and not dealing with this lie of a holiday and how these people have killed us from beginning to now. And they will not stop. Okay. All right, here we go. So the book of Obadiah, we are at verse 5. Well, we're going to go back to verse 6. How are the things of Esau searched out? How are the things of Esau searched out? How are his hidden things sought up? All the men of your confederacy have brought you even to the border. The men that were at peace with you have deceived you. Whoa, 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 whoa. It says that all the men of thy confederacy have brought thee even to the border. The men that were at peace, the men that were at peace with thee have deceived thee and prevailed against thee, that they that eat thy bread have laid a wound under thee. There is none understanding in him. Oh, the Father is saying that he built his confederacy because he rose up the heathen. And he said, arise, right? Because we strayed away from him, because we believed in all these false gods, all these false animals, all these deities, right? So now he's saying that the confederacy that he brought together, he said, all the men of thy confederacy have brought thee even to the border. The men of the confederacy that were at peace with thee have deceived thee and prevailed against thee, that they that eat thy bread have laid a wound under thee. That means that if you're going to eat with these people, you're going to break bread with these people on Thanksgiving, you are going into their belief system. You are agreeing with the massacre and the slaughter. You are saying, it's okay you killed my ancestors. It's okay that you've been lying to me all my life. It's okay that you have miseducated me. It's okay that you keep me oppressed. It's okay that you killed my kids out in the street. It's because you eat of their bread on their day of giving thanks for your slaughter. It said, laid a wound under thee. There is none understanding him. It says, shall I not in that day, said the Most High, even destroy the wise men of Edom and the understanding out of the mouth of Esau? And your mighty men, O Teman, shall be dismayed, to the end that every one of the mount of Esau may be cut off by slaughter. Because you get, karma, you reap what you sow. Because why? But why is the Father going to give them that? He says, for thy violence against thy brother Jacob, shame shall cover thee, and thou shalt be cut off forever. So y'all got to understand that even though Jacob and Esau are twin brothers, that he came out red and hairy. That's what Esau means. The title, the definition of Esau is red and hairy. That this hairy beast of the jungle that sold his inheritance for a porridge, that brought ill upon his brothers and tried to kill his brothers at many opportunities. And even when his brother was dead and his sons were taking him to the burial place, Esau didn't want Jacob to be buried in the same place his father was buried. I'm talking about hate. I'm talking about the fact that these people knew who they were coming over here to see. They knew who was being enslaved over here from the giddy up. And they were already in cohorts with Egypt. They were already in cohorts with Africa. And let me ask y'all a question. If Egypt, if they was all about that drama of putting in slaves of Africa, why didn't they get slaves from Egypt? Why didn't they get slaves from Mauritania? Why didn't they get slaves from Goshen? Why didn't they get slaves from Ethiopia? Why did they have to go to the southern part, the Sudan, underneath the lip? They had to go underneath the lip of Africa to go and get a particular people and call that the slave coast. You know what I'm saying? Have you ever asked that question? Maybe because the Africans in Northern Africa, the Almond Rods was in cahoots with them. Because they surely didn't put them in jail. What scripture had the pharaohs in jail? What pharaohs went in a ship? I don't know one pharaoh that was taken on a slave ship. I don't know one Zimbabwe African tribe that was above the Sudan that was taken into slavery. But they're Islamic above that Sudan. Islam was the first slave traders. I guess that's just a coincidence, huh? That's just a coinky thing. And it says, in that day that thou stoodest on the other side, in the day that the strangers carried away captives his forces, and foreigners entered into his gates, and cast lots upon Jerusalem, even thou was as one of them. So Esau, when the Romans, because that's them, but Esau had made it with Japhet. Esau had made it with Ishmael, which is Islam. Esau had wives with all of these different tribes. So now the father says that, hold up. Once you then came in, and these people came upon Jacob, your brother, and they came and sacked Jerusalem because Jacob, we was wrong because we wasn't following the Most High, which is why we went into captivity and lost it to Rome. The same reason why our northern tribes here lost out to the British and the Spanish, because we stopped following the Most High. So now the Most High said, I'm going to deal with you. I'm dealing with the vengeance of this, homie. That I'm dealing with nations. Forget your colors, because you done married every color on the god doggone rainbow, Esau. So your descendants is every color of the rainbow. I'm going to say it one more time. Esau, even though he came out red and hairy, he made it with every race of this earth. So he is in every race of this earth. And what is the definition of a Gentile? Everybody but is of the seed of Jacob. Negro, can you put it together? A Gentile is everything but the seed of Jacob. And Esau made it with every other seed. And Esau hates Jacob forever. No matter where his seed is showing up, whether his seed shows up in Islam, whether his seed shows up in Judaism, The Zionists, whether it shows up in Rome, whether it shows up in a stupid old redneck American. That Esau joined in with our enemies in dividing our lands and dividing our spoils. No, I can't just tell y'all that the boogeyman is over there in the corner with a blue shirt on and red hair. That fool is a shapeshifter. Amalekites. The reason why the Most High wants you to kill the people and the animals, because the demons shapeshifted into the animals. And that's why the indigenous worship animals. And it says, but thou shouldst have not, but thou should have not have looked on the day of thy brother and the day that he became a stranger. But you should have not looked on the day of your brother in the day that he became a stranger. Neither should you have rejoiced over the children of Yahudim in the day of their destruction. Neither should you have spoken proudly in the day of distress. You should not have entered into the gates of my people in the day of their calamity. Yea, you should not have looked on their affliction in the day of their calamity, nor have laid hands on their sustenance in the day of their calamity. So all of you that's out here trying to get it how you live in a day of our calamity, when you are making money off of our community, when you are investing in the penal system. I had somebody actually wanted a friend of mine, and they were black. They have been investing in the prison system. I'm not talking about the supposed Michael Jordan story. No, I know a Negro in New Orleans that tried to get a chick I know to join him in a pack of people that were investing in prisons. Think the father ain't gonna have a problem with that? What we do to our brother Esau did to us. That crab barrel mentality that we have, that we don't trust another brother in his words, that we gonna do things or we gonna stop them from trying to bring out truth. But that's exactly right here what Esau did to Jacob. So when people do it, then we should know who they are, what spirit they're coming from. It says, you should have not entered into the gates of my people in the day of their calamity. Yea, you should not have looked on their affliction in the day of their calamity, nor have laid hands on their substance in the day of their calamity. Neither should you have stood in the crossway to cut off those of his that did escape. Some of us escaped. The Father said we'd be scattered across the four corners of the earth. You think we didn't come to America? You think we wasn't? Neither should you have delivered up those of his that did remain in the day of the distress. For the day of the Most High is near upon all the heathen. As you have done, it shall be done unto you. Your reward shall return upon your own head. Verse 16. For as ye have drunk upon my holy mountain, so shall all the heathen drink continually. Yea, they shall drink, and they shall swallow down, and they shall be as though they had not been. What are they swallowing? The propaganda, as my sister brought out the other night. What are they swallowing? The lies of these fork-tongued NASA saying they got planets out here. When the people that created NASA are the same Nazis that we went to war with, and we gave them a peace treaty and said, come here and start our space program? But you say we got planets, though, because the sun and the moon is a disk. Well, Enoch explains that clearly. Now, they just told you that everything behind a star looks like that, but it's got a back to it. It's got all this length and circumference. They created all of that for you. So you can believe in gray aliens and not know that the demon is right here, that Esau is right here. Your great alien is right here. As it said here, that in the day of us being the stranger, being the alien, because we had lost our land, and now they were in our land. So now we were the alien. They are the aliens. And Harvard's always been the aliens. We ain't got to worry about them coming down in the spaceship. Heck, Hitler already created anti-gravity machines that look like spaceships and space saucers. Yeah, man. Look it up. I mean, you know, if you can tear yourself away from TV or watching some soap opera, watching some Tyler Perry movie. if you can tell yourself away from a Tyler Perry movie. I know Tyler is a funny faggot. I mean, I know he's a funny faggot. I mean, come on, man. He's dancing in the devil's court. He's extremely funny. He's a gesture for the devil. The question ain't what he is. The question is what you are. Verse 17. But upon Mount Zion shall be deliverance, and there shall be holiness, and the house of Jacob shall possess their possessions, and the house of Jacob, Yaakov, shall be a fire, and the house of Joseph a flame, and the house of Esau for stubble. And they shall kindle in them, and devour them. And there shall not be any remaining of the house of Esau, for the Most High has spoken it. And they of Negab shall possess the mount of Esau, and they of the plain of the Philistine, that's your Egyptian giants. And they shall possess the fields of Ephraim, and in the fields of Shimron and Benjamin shall possesses Gilead, and the captains of this host of the children of Yasharale shall possess that of Canaan, even which is all of Jerusalem. On verse 20, I gotta scroll y'all up. I'm sorry. I wanted to read from a book tonight. Verse 20, and the captivity of his host of the children of Yasharale shall possess that of Canaan, even unto Zarephath. And the captivity of Yerushalayim, which is in Sifa, which is in Spain, so far, shall possess the cities of Negab, and the Savior shall come upon Mount Zion to judge the mount of Esau, and the kingdom shall be of the Most High. Yes. So on Thursday, I may just come on and read Obadiah for y'all. Right? Because Obadiah clearly states that these people came in our house. It clearly states that they came in and stole us. It clearly states that they are Esau, that they are Rome, that they are Edom. Yes, my brother. You know what I'm saying? So we have to understand that this is going down. Ain't no time to be politically correct. I stand on these words, and the big old spirit tells me to go forward every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. If not, I know Esther's gonna break a leg, break our ankle or something. You know what I'm saying? Esther you better be coming on, and she probably sleep right now. But now we gonna handle this every Monday and Wednesday and Friday. Shabbat, because that's what the Father has for us. Shouts out Alana, I see you in the building, Queen. Hey Alana, you know I be checking out your stories, right? I'm just gonna say, you know I be checking out your stories, and I listen to your music on your stories, and I listen to the words that you put on there. And all I'm gonna say to you, I love your strength. More than that, I love the beauty that's inside you. But leave them thoughts alone. You got some thoughts around you. Leave them thoughts alone. All right. But anyway, so what we are understanding through the book of Obadiah, and now we're about to go to Psalms 35, right? Because as me and my brother Aaron was going through Psalms 35, you know, the Most High told me today as I was getting ready tonight, I'm like, okay, what I'm going to go with? You know, I got short time. We've been on the road all day. It's like, nah, you already know what you're supposed to do because it already came to me. Psalms 35, because my brother Aaron brought it to me this week, and we discussed that, you know, and that's what we need in this hour when we're coming upon this Thanksgiving on Thursday, that the entire world is going to tell you it's a time that you're supposed to spend with family. And you're supposed to forget about all this knowledge, all this death, all these lies, all these forked tongues, all this, all that has happened. You want me to put it on the side and say this is just an opportunity for me and my family to get together. Well, shame on me if I wait this long to get with my family. Shame on me if I take this long to tell my family I love them. Shame on me if I haven't made my family know how much I love them. Because my family is not celebrating this Holocaust. They say there was 6 million. How many you think indigenous they had here? Because last time I looked, Poland is nowhere as big as North America. Last I checked, Germany ain't got nothing on the size of United States. So when we talk about a genocide, because they say they wiped all the Indians out, and that what you see is black in America is all from the slave ships. So we're going to talk about a Holocaust, then you are celebrating a Holocaust on this Thursday. Never forget, right? never forget, right? So now we're not going to forget. We're going to stand on this rock because this scripture brings into memory of what really happened as opposed to the lies and the forked tongues that they give us. So we're going to stand on this truth. And anybody got something to go refute this truth, I'm interested in hearing. I don't want to be stupid up here and following some fables. But I have yet to find anyone that can intellectually discuss this and show me that where this is a farce. And the more and more, the longer and longer it takes, the Most High keeps showing me his hand in my life. And I'm just like, I don't even know what somebody could tell me at this point. But I do want to hear it because maybe I can be a reflection of the Father. Maybe that can turn you. And then I can be like James, you know, when it says that, you know, a man that can turn another brother or sister from error, that he has made up for many sins. James the Just. That would be who I'm talking about. James the Just. The brother of Yasha. You dig? So let's get into this Psalms. And get y'all out of here tonight. I started at 9 o'clock and I had no plans on being as long. Because I ain't even ate like talking about it, y'all. I had a sandwich. Here we go. Psalms 35, right? Because we're dealing with some confederacies, right? We're dealing with principalities. They come in all form of fashions. These principalities ain't always in Esau. These principalities ain't always in men. You know, these principalities come in the form of a woman. Sometimes these principalities come in the form of a child. They come in the form of all types. That's why you got to keep your head on a swivel, and you have to know what righteousness is, because it comes so slick. The scripture says that Hashatan was the smoothest. He was the most subtle of all the beasts of the field. He was the most subtle. Y'all keep thinking that the devil gonna pop up with red horns and, you know, big old red body and horns. He's subtle. He ain't no neon sign. Elect. Yes, it said that he would even fool. He is so good with that he could almost fool the very elect. So now he ain't gonna become deceived. So no, he ain't gonna come out here in no reflector suit and horns and say the devil's here. Ha ha. He gonna beguile you, seduce you. Before you know it, grown ass man bent over with Vaseline. And you like, how did I get here? How did you get there where you made all of the food for everybody to come to your house for Thanksgiving? You making a decision to have Christmas. You're about to buy gifts for all the people in your house. Oh, you gonna eat that gumbo with that shrimp? And man, I'm just saying that you wonder how you bent over the tub with Vaseline on your butt. You asked for it because you refuse to seek yourself. So then you're susceptible to anything. So Psalms 35 to give us some strength in this hour, to know what we stand on, to know who our big old spirit is and what he do. You know what I'm saying? Because things happen to my enemies without me knowing, without me talking, without me bringing it up. The Most High tells me who my enemies are. I wake up in the morning, I put this on everything. I wake up in the morning, the Father put the thought in my mind, a name. I'll be like, that's the name today? Some people will know, listening. I'll say it in my conversations. The Most High told me to the Spirit told me to give you a shout today. Now, the person that's getting that, they say, okay, Kayel is always talking about the Spirit and things. So, they ain't thinking twice about what I'm really saying. I'm saying to you that the Most High put your name in my mind today. Meaning that I was not thinking about your black ass before. The Most High put you in my mind. And there he tells me to go and seek that. Give you a call, find out what's up with your life. Is you on the right path? Is something going on? Is this going on? He don't always just do that with his friends. He do that with my enemies. He do that with people that are plotting and planning against me. He does that. I promise you he does it on everything. So if he does that, then I know that my prayers work against them. If the Father is ratting them out, then obviously if I tell him I need him to go ahead and handle that so I can stay righteous in these 10 commandments so I don't get my hands dirty, what you think happened? Y'all can think I'm bullcrapping and playing. But let's go. Plead my cause, O Most High, with them that strive with me. So we start off with positivity. We ask the Father to hear our cause and aid the people that rock with us, that fight with us. Then it says, fight against them that fight against me. Take hold of shield and buckler and stand up for my help. Wait, my prayer is telling the Father to go to war for me. I'm clearly David says, and he don't ask, he didn't say, would you, Father? He says, take hold of shield and buckler and stand up for my help. Draw out also the spear and stop the way against them that persecute me. Say unto my soul, I am your salvation, Yeshua. Let them be confounded and put to shame that seek after my soul. Let them be turned back and brought to confusion that devise my heart, my hurt. Does that not encompass everybody? Right, why every gay commercial to black people Chanel? I don't know. They call it because it's BL, it's Black Lives Matter. If we didn't know that Black Lives Matter was a lesbian organization, go on to their website and read their terms, well, their laws, their agenda, which is their platform. And their platform is against heterosexual men. Their platform is about making the woman the top of the house and making sure that she has all she needs without the need and assistance of a male. Maybe some people into that. That's not, the Father's not into it. That's not how he planned it. Out of order. It's quite out of order. So, and it says, so here in verse 4, David is encompassing all types of people that can be coming at him. He's asking the Father that no matter who it is and however they coming at me, let that be on them. Let them be confused and let them be ashamed that all of their plans fell upon themselves. Let them be as chaff before the wind, and let the angel of the Most High chase them. I don't know if y'all know, but the angels of the Most High don't eat. They don't sleep. There's no rest. So when he's asking for the angels to chase his enemies, he's saying, give my enemies no rest. Let them sleep not. Let them be concerned. Let them be worried. Because they should, yes, it's because they should be. Verse 6. Let their way be dark and slippery, and let the angel of the Most High persecute them. For without cause have they hid for me their net in a pit, which without cause, without cause they have dug for my soul. Let destruction come upon him at unawares, and let his net that he has hid catch himself, and to that very destruction let him fall. If that's the prayer, and that's the prayer for Esau, then what we're saying is that we want this government to fall, because it's the snare that he has put for us. This United States government, politicians, is to oppress us. So if we're praying this prayer, we're praying for this system to collapse. Understand? It says, lest destruction come upon him at unawares, and let his net that he has hid catch himself, into the very destruction let him fall. And let my soul shall be joyful. Verse 9. And my soul shall be joyful in the Most High. It shall rejoice in his salvation. All my bones shall say, Most High, who is like unto you? Who is like my Creator? I put him up against any one of your creation stories. I put his hand up that he has shown up against any one of your deities. Any day of the week. It says, so that's why all my bones shall say, Most High, who is like unto you, which deliver the poor from him that is too strong for him, yea, the poor and the needy from him that spoils him. See, the world says opposite, only the strong survive. Get it how you live. Verse 11, the Most High says you have to do none of that when you rock with me. My angels will persecute your enemies. I will provide all the substance that you need. All I need you to do is stand on the fact that I did it. False witnesses did rise up. They laid to charge things that I knew not. Oh, wasn't I talking about that tonight, sister? That in this time, that people going to have problem in the community, that we're trying to bring forth truth, that people are going to devise schemes. And it says, because false witnesses did rise up. They laid to my charge things that I knew not. But guess what's going to happen? When I tell y'all that I've been in these wars, man, I know how to be humble. I know where to put my prayers. I know where to put my guns at. I put my guns with my Father, with the big old spirit behind me. And it says, they rewarded me evil for good. Tell me what evil have I done in this community? But as for me, When they were sick, my clothing was sackcloth. I humbled my soul with fasting, and my prayer returned unto my own bosom. What do y'all think that means? That means that the people we pray for and the people that we ask to have things done and moved in their lives and situations, that if them people ain't righteous, because you're righteous, that prayer comes back to you and righteousness is bestowed upon you. So it's a win-win to pray. It's a win-win to pray for your enemy. That's why the Father says pray for your enemies. Oh, y'all didn't know why, did you? Because they lied to you in their white churches. And then they St. Augustine black churches. Shout out to the brother Timothy Washington that we had the conversation about the St. Augustine brother with the doctrines mixed with Hermetics, Thoth, which is your Catholicism, Christianity, and Baptist, and Methodist, and Evangelist. See, it says, but as for me, when they were sick, my clothing was sackcloth. I humbled my soul with fasting, and my prayer returned unto my bosom. So when the oppressor tells you that in their Bible that they gave the slaves and said that, oh, you are supposed to pray for your enemy, because if your enemy is your enemy, then you have done no wrong in your Creator's eyes, and you have prayed for this to be done. And guess what? If they won't accept it, then that peace, that covering, that love is bestowed upon you, and you are covered. And the Father says, okay, I see who's about it. You go on, continue on these 10 commandments and being righteous and being a reflection, and I'm going to take care of little Billy Badass. 14. And it says, I behaved myself as though he had been my friend or brother. I bowed down heavily as one that mourns for his mother. But in my adversity, they rejoiced and gathered themselves together. Yea, the objects gathered themselves together against me, and I knew it not. They did tear me and ceased not with hypocritical mockeries. Hypocritical mockeries. In feast, they garnished upon me with their teeth. Oh, Adonai Yasha, my salvation. How long will you look upon? Rescue my soul from their destruction, my darlings from their loins, my darlings from their lions. I will give you thanks in the great assembly. So when I tell y'all we're going to stand on it, that's the thanks that he requires. To let everyone know who's saving you, who's holding you, who's got you, who saw you through it. He ain't asking you for the pay. He ain't asking for no tithes. Now he don't want your money. What he wants is you to acknowledge him. And no, he ain't human-like and jealous of Allah or jealous of Amun Ra. We ain't in no god doggone competition. And we damn sure ain't got a cash out. Know what I'm talking about? So, I will give you thanks in the great assembly. I will praise you among my people, is what he requires, because he wants everybody to come to him. Us and Gentiles. Y'all talk about hate. He talks about love. Let not them that are my enemies wrongfully rejoice over me, neither let them wink with an eye that hate me without cause. For they speak not peace, but they devise deceitful matters. Deceitful, snakish. Want to be your friend. Want to comb your hair, want to braid your hair, want to take you out for a drink, want to get to know you better. Deceit. They want to know where you're coming from. What's your plans? What you got going? How can I help you? Or how can I destroy you? It don't matter. You know why? Because when you're walking with the big old, you do his job. And you don't think about the enemies, whether they're there or not, because you got the big old spirit clearing the way. If your head is on a swivel and you constantly praying these prayers of a warrior, and you walking in a warrior's light, women and men, and you walking in a warrior's light by these commandments, because a warrior is disciplined. To follow the 10 Commandments takes discipline. You are a warrior because you discipline yourself. And you're his warrior, because his warrior, he gives the strength to fight. He said, in the days, the feeble, the weakest will be as David. So, no. It's not about focusing on what the Caucasoid or what the Asian is doing, or what the brother that wants to stab him in the back is doing, or what the sister that wants to finagle me and get me off track wants to do. The only focus I got is whatever mission he told me to do, and stand righteous in that path so I don't profane the beauty that he has given me. He's given me the beauty of by speaking to me, one, and then giving me a mission to do in his name. Is you crazy? I'm focused on that. I cannot be focused on the side cheffing. I cannot be focused on the pointing of the guns. I can't be focused. I'm walking through the valley of death, homie, with my chest out. Because if I died there, I died in his name. And whether you think that's cool or not, whether you think it's corny or not, whether you think it's stupid or not, you don't understand what belief is. You don't understand what faith is, because you are what you make yourself, partner. If you make yourself an atheist, you are. If you make yourself a king, you are. If you make yourself a queen, you are. If you live by being that, then you are that. Maybe I missed somebody with that one. Maybe I missed somebody with that one.
In order to be royalty,
you have to be royalty. Psalms 82, ye are gods, but you died like men in your own sins. But y'all just want to be gods, though. Verse 20. Oh, no wonder this is not right. They gave me Ecclesiastes. How did I get Ecclesiastes when I got Psalms 35 in here? I'm sorry, guys, that I had y'all on the wrong thing. Told y'all I was reading from my own. I apologize on why that thing gave me Ecclesiastes. Anyway, we are at verse 20. I realized that I was in the wrong place when Ecclesiastes ended at 20. I knew that couldn't be true. Anyway, guys, verse 20. For they speak not peace, but they devise deceitful matters against them that are quiet in the land. Yea, they opened their mouths wide against me and said, I have seen it. This you have seen, O Most High. Keep not silence, O Adonai. Be not far from me. Stir up yourself and wait to my judgment even unto my cause. So David is like, Most High, wait till my judgment. Even if you need to judge me, I'm willing to be judged. Even if I got to stand in front the magistrate, the judges, the naysayers, the prognosticators, to be judged, I'm willing. But Father, I pray that you are the judge, and you judge all of us, because I know I've been walking in your righteousness. And if I haven't, I know you, only you, have got the grace and mercy for me, because man want to persecute me and crucify me. So I got no problem slipping for the Father, because he got grace and mercy. I got a problem slipping in front of man, trying to be like man. I will slip trying to be like the Father, but I ain't gonna slip trying to be like man. 24. Judge me, O Most High, according to your righteousness, and let me not rejoice, and let them not rejoice over me. Let them not say in their hearts, so what do we have it? And it says, so would we have it, Let them not say, we have swallowed him up. Let them be ashamed and brought to confusion together that rejoice at my hurt. Let them be clothed with shame and dishonor that magnify themselves against me. Let them shout for joy and be glad that favor my righteousness. 27, let them shout for joy and be glad that favor my righteous cause. Let them say continually, let the Most High be magnified, which has pleasure in the prosperity of his servant. And my tongue shall speak of righteousness and of your praise all the day long. That's y'all got your boy Kyle right there. Psalm 35 sums me up, people. No ifs, ands, buts about it. No way around it. That's what it is. So, I'm gonna let y'all go tonight. It's 12:12 on the clock. Oh, praise to the Most High. I ain't ready with me before past midnight. But I thank y'all for staying in. I stayed in this long. You know what I'm saying? Chanel, I hope I stayed on long enough for you to get a good fix since you came in late. But this is where we at, y'all. Stop focusing on the world. Focus on your discipline, on circumcising your heart. Your enemy's gonna come. You can't never stop these enemies from coming. You can't never stop jokers from coming. You can't ever stop Esau, because Esau hates us forever. We can't stop Esau. So what we have to do is be righteous. So when Esau comes, we got our full armor on. And when we got our full armor on, we are walking through it like a rhino, meaning that we're so big and so full of armor that we barely even feel what we're going through, because we're so focused on him. We're so focused on praying. We're so focused on being righteous that you just don't see it. And then they fall by the wayside. Then you look up 4 months later and say, damn, what happened to Harry? I thought Sheila had said something. I don't know where them people at now. But you still going. And that's all you need. That's all it is. You keep going. You keep seeking his face. Because this world is going down. Inch by inch, day by day, law by law, politician by politician, world power by world power. It's going down. What you gonna do when the vaccine comes for you? What you gonna do? Who you gonna pray on? Who you gonna be looking for that righteousness at that time? Because that's when you're gonna want righteousness. When they're forcing their vaccines on you, when they're forcing their FEMA camps, then you're gonna want to talk about righteousness. But right now, while you're free, we can blur the lines of righteousness. We can just get it how we live. I pray in this hour that y'all repent from that, rebuke that. But that's us for tonight. All praise to the Most High. Me Shalom. Enjoy. I truly